Good evening, everyone. Good morning, rather. And it's almost afternoon right now. So confused because there was some tech issue. Okay, so we were just dealing with that. Right. Some of you already joined. Hi, Akash, Somil, Sanket, Jai Hind, Vaibhav, Sanket. So yes, we are starting the session now. I hope I'm visible to all of you. Visible, audible. Yes, tell me. I need to know this. Okay. Yes, am I visible? Let me just check. Why has this not started? Acha, so I am not visible to myself, but I'm visible to you, so that's fine, I believe. Okay. Uh, Today we are starting with our new series, Critical Reasoning, right? So I designed sessions so that we cover it very, very comprehensively. Okay. So we'll look at inference questions today, then we'll look at strengthening, weakening questions. Okay. And then we'll look at some advanced questions as well, right? So basically, this is a complete package on critical reasoning. So after this, no matter which exam you give that has critical reasoning, you will be able to solve the questions. That is my aim behind this series. Okay. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so let's begin quickly. This is your YouTube schedule. Please note it down. We are available from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on our Gradeup MBA channel, right? Now, if you like the session, if you find value in it, show your appreciation by liking it. Share it with anybody who wants to learn critical reasoning, be it for any entrance exam out there. Okay. Now, when I talk about critical reasoning, the very backbone of this topic is an argument. So, can you tell me what an argument is? Yes. What is an argument? Thank you, Akash. How do you just give me a common understanding of the word? How do you understand it? Is it a fight between two people? Good afternoon, Aditya. Is it a fight between two people? An argument? We say this, no? They had a heated argument. No. When we talk of argument in logic, I'm not saying that that is not one of the meanings of an argument. It is. But when we talk about argument in logic, this fight is not what I'm talking about. Then what is it that I'm talking about in logic? Okay, let's see. So in logic, if I have to very formally define an argument, it is a set of interconnected statements containing a conclusion that you derive on the basis of one or more premises. So a lot of terms, right? Statements, conclusion, premises. So let's simplify this. An argument is any viewpoint. An argument is nothing but any viewpoint that you hold, okay, that anybody holds, which is backed by reasons, which is based on one or more reasons, right? So if I say, my phone is very good, it's an MI phone, my phone is good because it has a great camera, it's very sturdy also, right? So this is my argument. My viewpoint is that my phone is good and it is based on one or more reasons, right? It's just that we give formal names to these terms in logic. So the name given to a reason is a premise. The reason is called the premise, and the name given to the viewpoint is conclusion, right? So an argument is nothing but you will have multiple statements. One of these statements will be the main conclusion of the argument. And how will you arrive at that conclusion? Based on one or more reasons, one or more premises. That is why it's called critical reasoning. Okay, that is why it's called critical reasoning. Now, a lot of you are saying debate. So I understand there could be a counter argument to your argument, but to make an argument, it's not necessary that you have to indulge in a debate. So for instance, I told you that I find my phone pretty good, right? So there's no debate happening right now, but this is my argument. Okay. So I hope this is clear to everybody. Now, let's see this example and let's dissect it. Bhumi secured 98% marks in class 12. First statement. Second statement, she can be called intelligent. Now, is this an argument? These two statements that I've written here, do they make an argument? They do, right? Where the second statement is the conclusion. Okay, the second statement here is the conclusion and the first one is the reason, the premise behind it. Yes? So let's look at the parts of an argument. Right. So any argument will consist of these three parts. Two you've already seen, right? Two we have already seen, the conclusion and the premise. Okay, then what is the hidden part that we don't know of yet? See, in the reason, I just talked about her marks. That, Bhumi secured 98% marks in class 12. Just the marks. How is it that from the marks, I concluded something about intelligence? So, if you look at these two statements, ये तो marks की बात कर रहा है and ये suddenly intelligent की बात करने लगा. There's some disconnect, right? So there must be something that is hidden here, something that has not been stated, but which is essential for arriving at this conclusion. That is the speaker, the arguer's assumption. Assumptions are nothing but hidden premises. These are those statements that are absolutely essential for arriving at the conclusion. They connect the premise and the conclusion. Without them, the conclusion, the roof of this house is going to collapse. These are the connecting pillars. Oh, this is a house that I've made, by the way. Okay, ये उसकी roof है, ये pillars हैं और ये foundation है. ठीक है? So, without these hidden premises, these assumptions, the house is going to collapse, right? So, the conclusion will collapse, right? And of course, if the roof collapses, the house also collapses. Pillars तो है ही नहीं already. So, I hope you understood this, that every argument has these three parts, premises. These premises lead us to the conclusion, but in this process, we need the help of something else, something that is essential to arrive finally at the conclusion. This hidden sort of a premise that is essential for connecting the premise to the conclusion is called an assumption. Assumption of the arguer, always seen from the point of view of the arguer, right? So we will do assumption questions in our next class. Okay, so our next class will be dedicated to assumptions. Today we'll focus more on the easier part, on the conclusion, right? That if a set of premises is given to you, how do you arrive at a conclusion from there, right? That's what we are going to focus on. Let me quickly see if you have any queries. Okay, all right, perfect. No queries so far. Now, look at this. What is it that you have to keep in mind always? See, in critical reasoning questions, I always advise students to read the question stem first. What is it that the examiner is asking of you? Does the examiner want you to arrive at a conclusion, or identify an assumption, or strengthen an argument, or weaken an argument? सबसे पहले हमें ये पता होना चाहिए, right? Because when you know this in advance, you will read the rest of the question with that focus. If you have to weaken an argument, अच्छा मुझे ना इसमें flaws find out करने हैं, attack करना है इसको बाद में, right? So I think I told this to you in CR revision also, the session that we had earlier, that you always have to read the question stem first. Then, because these are inference or conclusion questions, you will be provided with just the premises, right? Conclusion नहीं provide करेंगे वो आपको निकालना है ना? So you will be provided with a set of premises usually, maybe some background information also, some background noise also, right? Primarily the premises. We call this paragraph that we have in a critical reasoning question, it is called a stimulus. ठीक है? तो इसको stimulus बोलते हैं हम. Now, what do you have to take care? See, I have put it in caps. Mark that option which is true on the basis of the stimulus. Okay, it has to be true on the basis of what you have just read. That will be your answer. Unless it is true, it cannot be your answer. Remember this, important. That is why conclusions, inferences, they tend to be very close to the text, very close to the stimulus, because unko true hona hai on the basis of the text. Anything that is uncertain, iffy, cannot be your conclusion. All right. Also, very, very important, you have to read all the options carefully, because of course the examiner has laid traps for you there, and eliminate. Because sometimes what happens is, when the student is reading information, reading premises, she's also processing them side by side. So there might be some conclusion that you have arrived at, but you don't find it in the options. Then what will you do? You won't leave the question, right? You will eliminate and find out the most appropriate choice. Okay, the one that you are not able to eliminate, the one that is, let's say, the most suitable out of the lot, if not ideal. It may not be ideal, right? That is why elimination is important. Okay, so keep these few things in mind, and we look at some of the traps today. That's what we have the questions for. We look at some of the classic traps that the examiner can lay for you in these questions. Right. So if you quickly look at this, although we are going to see this in detail in questions, a conclusion cannot have something that's not even there in the stimulus. है ना? अगर stimulus में कुछ है ही नहीं तो वो conclusion में कैसे आएगा? So it can't be alien. It shouldn't be incomplete. It should capture, basically it should try to capture whatever has been said in the premises, whatever the premises are linked to, वो सब कुछ capture होना चाहिए conclusion में. Isn't it? So it can't be incomplete. Broad. If your premises are talking about something specific, something related to, let's say, just so here when I was talking about MI phone, the discussion was just about that phone. I cannot make a conclusion about all the phones out there just on the basis of my one phone, right? If I do that, I will be actually falling into this trap, making a broad conclusion from specific information. Right? So broad, alien, incomplete, taking the conclusion to extreme. Right? If let's say my data indicates something and I say my data proves it, that is taking it to the extreme. And lastly, but very important, students do this a lot. Just because something that is stated is true, let's say, it is a repetition sometimes, it is just stating a very minor fact that is there in the argument. माइनर सी चीज जो एक आर्ग्यूमेंट में है वही स्टेट हो रही है, बट इट्स नॉट एड्रेसिंग द क्वेश्चन. दैट डज नॉट मीन दैट दिस इज गोइंग टू बी योर आंसर. Okay, so something that is in general true but is not addressing the question is not your answer. So if you take care of these traps, I think you will sail through these questions like anything. Right? Thank you, Varsha. I just saw your message. Okay, so let's look at our first question. This is a sample question, a very short, low-hanging fruit. Okay, here is your argument. You can identify the premise and the conclusion here. You have to find out whether both can be concluded, neither can be concluded. Right? Start. All right, let me see. Okay. Waiting for your responses. Okay, I've got one. Okay. All right. Okay, okay. E. A lot of you are saying E, A, C. Okay. Primarily E. Primarily, I'm getting E. Neither can be concluded. All right. Many factory workers are suffering from respiratory diseases. They are suffering from respiratory diseases. This is the premise of the author. Now, based on this situation, this problem, the author has this viewpoint. This is the conclusion of the author. The only way to bring such cases to zero, basically it's an opinion, right? Instead of calling it the conclusion, let's call it an opinion. This is the opinion of the author, right? The only way to bring such cases to zero is to relocate the packaging unit of the factory. So, see, words that are important here: only way, bringing it to zero, that means eliminating it, to relocate the packaging unit of the factory. First option says no other unit in the factory produces harmful substances causing respiratory diseases. So, see this, because if this were true, then would the author be able to say that the only way to bring such cases to zero is to relocate the packaging unit of the factory? Tell me. No other unit in the factory produces harmful substances causing respiratory diseases. If, let's say, there is another unit in the factory that does cause respiratory diseases, that is responsible for respiratory diseases, then how will we bring these cases to zero by just relocating the packaging unit of the factory? Then we'll not be able to bring the cases to zero even if we relocate the packaging unit of the factory. Right? So Sanket, this is a question from your previous year paper only. Okay, so you can see the level. So that means that this is something that I can conclude. This is something that I can conclude from the information that is given to me. Okay, so first can be concluded. Now let's look at second. Making modifications in the packaging unit of the factory at its current location will not improve the present situation. Making modifications in the packaging unit of the factory, okay, at its current location will not improve the present situation. If it were able to improve the present situation, then the author would not suggest that, let's relocate it to the packaging, let's relocate it to some other place. Yes or no? So actually, the answer is C here. The answer is C, not E. Okay, so good. Those of you who said C. Hope this is clear. So this was a question from MAH-CET 2018. Okay, now let's look at some full-fledged questions. This was a short question. Okay, so here there is a full-fledged question, but again it's an easy question provided you eliminate the options, right? So read the question stem. Okay, then go to the stimulus, look at the options, eliminate, and then tell me the answer. Yes. Let's see, we'll simplify this as we proceed. Apologies for the noise in case you can hear it. All right. Got one response. Okay. E, D, Okay. Just look at each and every sentence, understand it, assimilate it, then go to the options. Your answer should be the safest, closest answer out there. So I've got C, E and D so far. Others? Okay, I've got A also now. All right. Any other option? B. Okay. Okay, sabhi aa gaya. Chalo, let's see the answer. To protect certain fledgling industries, the government of country Z banned imports of the types of products those industries were starting to make. So imports were banned. As a direct result, the cost of those products to the buyers, who were the buyers? Several export dependent industries in Z went up. Probably when they imported, it was cheaper to them. So now that they are no longer able to import, they have to buy from the domestic players. The cost went up for them, right? The cost of those products to the buyers, these buyers went up, sharply limiting the ability of those industries to compete effectively in their export markets. Now, because their costs had gone up, they are not able to compete with the other players in the export markets, in the international markets. They're not able to compete with their competitors, right? So which of the following, basically this is the result, right? As a result, until here, this is the result. This is the conclusion in a way, okay? It's a result, but something that is essential, for this also. That's what we have to see. Why is it? See, when I'm saying that which of the following conclusions about country Z's adversely affected export dependent industries is best supported by the passage. The passage will support something here, right? So sometimes you are not directly given a conclusion question that, okay, what can be concluded, what cannot be concluded. You are asked that which of the following is this passage supporting? Which of the following is this passage supporting? Now, this will not exactly be a conclusion, but of course, your paragraph will provide the reasons for it. That is how it will support, right? So it will provide some reasons for whatever is stated here, whatever correct answer is here. So let's see. So the costs went up and they were not able to compete. Okay. Now those who are saying E, those industries started to move into export markets that they had previously judged unprofitable. You are suggesting a further course of action. You are suggesting a further course of action that those industries can take. See, they may do this, they may not do this. So I can't be sure. Okay, so you are giving a suggestion that, okay, this is something that they can do. So no, this is not the answer. Then, those industries succeeded in expanding the domestic market for their products. Again, the same nature as E. So C and E should have been rejected because these are some further courses of action. They are not supported by this information. Okay. D. Steps to offset rising material costs by decreasing labor costs were taken in those industries. Again, this is, so today we'll do course of action on the Gradeup app. That's when I'll explain. See, conclusion and course of action are two different things. Conclusion is what can be derived from what is given to you. Course of action is that, okay, a problem is given to you. Now, what is the step that you're going to take? Okay, so C, D and E are in the nature of courses of action. Let's look at A and B. Those industries had to contend with the fact that other countries banned imports from countries, so eliminated. A says profit margins in those industries were not high enough to absorb the rise in costs mentioned above. See, this must have been the case. This has to be true. Why? Because I am saying that when their costs increased, they were not able to compete. They were not able to compete in the export markets. When will that happen? When will that happen? When, your profit margins are not high enough, that you are not able to absorb the rise in costs, you are going into losses. That is when you will not be able to compete, isn't it? So, is something that follows from this sentence very clearly. When their costs increased, they were not able to compete. That means their profit margins were not high enough. Okay, otherwise they would have been able to compete. Clear to everybody? Export dependent means that is a company that relies on exports from other countries. So let's say I make a product that requires some raw materials that are not made in India. So I import them, sorry, from some other countries. So that would be import dependent, sorry, that is import dependent. Export dependent industries would be that they export their products. So now I make my product and I export it to other countries. So my company is an export dependent company. ठीक है? Okay. I hope things are clear so far. Option A is clear. It's clear why option A is the answer. And if you see, I have marked the safest answer that does not go beyond my argument in any way. Right? It just derives something, looks at something within the argument to arrive at the answer. Okay? Chalo, let's go to the next question then. With a fresh mind, it's not a difficult question again. Mark the safest, closest answer out there. Don't go beyond the argument. Okay, read and tell me. A set of premises given to you. Waiting for your responses. Okay, Sanket, the polygraph test one, I'll explain this. Polygraph test is that lie detector test. You must have seen it in movies, etc. Okay. C, E. All right. I've got a lot of C's. Others? Okay. Sanket also thinks C. Okay. E. All right. Okay, so Nehu is asking premises mean facts, right? Premises mean reasons. Your reasons behind holding a viewpoint. Now, for some people, see, these reasons can be facts. Based on facts, I believe in something or I have a viewpoint. But these could also be beliefs, simply beliefs. So, if I say that so and so party is a good party, therefore I am going to vote for this political party. So the viewpoint that I'm going to vote for this political party was arrived at a belief that it's a good political party. It's not a fact. So premises can be facts also, they can be beliefs also. Okay, it's not essential that they have to be hardcore data. Okay, all right. So I've got B, C, D, E also. All right. Now the very first sentence of this argument is important. So when a polygraph test, a lie detector test, is judged inconclusive, when its results are inconclusive, that is not a reflection on the examinee. That is not a reflection on the examinee. That does not say anything about the person who has been subjected to the lie detector test. Rather, such a judgment, whenever the result is inconclusive, it means that the test has failed. that the test has failed to show whether the examinee was truthful or untruthful. Okay. Nevertheless, employers will sometimes refuse to hire a job applicant because of an inconclusive polygraph test result. So even though I'm saying that, when the polygraph test comes out to be inconclusive, when the result comes out to be inconclusive, that does not mean that the examinee was lying. That's why it has come out to be inconclusive. It simply means that the test has failed somewhere, right? Still, employers do this, that they sometimes refuse to hire job applicants just because their polygraph test result was inconclusive. So now, if you say A, most examinees with inconclusive polygraph test results are in fact truthful. Most of them are in fact truthful. This is not a conclusion that you are giving on the basis of this information. In fact, this is contradicting what I have just said. It contradicts what basically has been stated in the first sentence, isn't it? तो ये तो उसको contradict कर रहा है. This should have been an easy to eliminate option. Okay. B is in the nature of a suggestion that this should not happen. Polygraph test should not be used by employers. Conclusions are not further suggestions or further courses of action that you give. Right? This is a further suggestion. Very good. Those who've marked C, quite a few of you, that is the answer. So happy that this time you evaluated the options. An inconclusive polygraph test result is sometimes unfairly held against the examinee. It is being unfairly held against the examinee sometimes because employers sometimes refuse to hire him or her because of an inconclusive polygraph test result. So, C is the answer here. Now, D says a polygraph test indicating that an examinee is untruthful. So, this has digressed from our argument. We are talking about an inconclusive polygraph test, not the one that actually shows that the examinee is untruthful. Right? So, D is eliminated. Okay. Coming to E. Some employers have refused to consider the results of polygraph tests when evaluating job applicants. So, this is an external piece of information that we are giving you, that some don't even consider the results. Right? So, extra information, this is alien in a way, right, to what is already stated. Ye extra information hai. So, our answer is C. Clear to everybody? It can be a fact, not necessarily. Yes. Sure, Nemu. Okay. So I hope this question is clear to everybody. This is how a full-fledged critical reasoning question looks like. Okay. So you had to conclude something from here, right? And happy that most of you marked correctly. Let's see. So this is, I think, those who like maths or those who like a bit of quant, बहुत basic सा इसमें numbers दिए हैं. You will find it easy. Okay, let's see. Okay, waiting for your responses. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Hello. Good morning, afternoon. I've got one response, which is B. Others? All right. Okay. A, B, E. What else? C. Okay. D रह गया बस. All right. Let's see. So, a company's two divisions performed with remarkable consistency over the past 3 years. In each of those years, the pharma division accounted for roughly 20% of sales. 20% of sales. And 40% of profits. 40% of profits. And the chemicals division, the balance. The chemicals division for the balance. So here, that means 80% of the sales and it gave us 60% of profit. Now, what can be properly inferred from the past 3 years from the statement above? A. Total dollar sales for each of the company's divisions have remained roughly constant. Those who are saying A, has anything about the amount of sales given to me, the total sales for each of the 3 years and each of the company's divisions? No such data is extended to me, no? So maybe the sales have increased. For both of these divisions, the sales have increased in the last 3 years. I have been given the percentages, that as a percentage, this has been the case. The amount of sales could have increased, right? So A is not the answer. B. The pharma division has faced stiffer competition in its markets than has the chemicals division. How did you conclude this? The part about stiffer competition? Yes, those who marked B. How did you conclude about stiffer competition? I don't know anything about that. The pharma division may not have faced stiffer competition. So I have just been given data about sales and profits. This is the argument summarized here. That's it. This is what I have been provided for the past 3 years. Okay, so I can't say anything about competition. Alien option goes beyond my argument. Okay, eliminate this. C. The chemicals division has realized lower profits per dollar of sales than has the pharma division. Let's see if I can actually conclude this or not. So, if you look at the chemicals division, it had 80% of sales in the last 3 years. On 80% of sales, it earned 60% of profits. Whereas our pharma division had just 20% of sales, but on that it earned 40% of profits. So isn't it giving more profit per dollar of sales? In case, such things confuse you in the exam, let's say you get such a question and it confuses you, you can assume figures on your own. Okay, so just assume figures. Let's say sales, total sales 100, right? So pharma ka sales will be 20 rupees, chemical sale would be 80 rupees. I hope things are visible to you, right? Now, let's say profit percentage on sales 50% इसमें से cost है, 50% profit होता है, तो कितना profit हो जाएगा? 10 rupees, right? No, wait, total profit is 50%, तो total profit कितना हुआ? 50 rupees, 100 rupees पे. Yes? So total profit is 50 rupees. Now out of this 50 rupees, 40%, which is 20 rupees, has been earned by the pharma division, and 60%, which is 30 rupees, has been earned by the chemicals division. So do you see that it is the chemicals division which is giving me lower profit per dollar of sales? 30 by 80 karenge hum. So that's just 3 by 8, whereas this is 1. So C is something that can be concluded. Now some of you are thinking, why is it that I'm assuming figures? You can do this even without assuming figures. Just simply look at the percentages. With 80% of sales, somebody is giving me 60% of profit, whereas the other person with just 20% of sales are giving me 40% of profit. So that is of course much more. This is of course much more. The chemical division is giving me lower profit per dollar of sales. Okay, so C can be inferred. In fact, here in this question, the other options they talked about product mix, competition, right? E talks about the highly profitable products accounted for a higher percentage of the chemical division sales. I don't know what kind of products is the chemical division selling. Are they highly profitable products? Are they not? So these are all going beyond the scope, right? This says that the total sales are constant. We don't know whether they were constant or not, right? So it's only C that can be inferred. Does this make sense? Even if you do not assume figures, then also you can see this profit per unit of sales. Yes, no. Okay. I am assuming there's a lag. Right. If you have any question, you can ask me. Meanwhile, I'm changing the slide. Okay. All of you can hear me, see me. Now I'm doubtful. Hello? Okay. All right. You scared me for a moment. Okay. So, hoping that this was clear. Where can we practice questions of such type? So I have already shared one source with you. Okay, so just go to the Telegram group, Gradeup MBA Telegram group. There I have shared a PDF called CR questions. It has about 1,000 questions, okay, 1,000 CR questions. So I think that should be enough. In case you still want to go further, which I don't think is required, but still if you want to go to a higher level, okay, then you can consider GMAT's critical reasoning questions, GMAT's official guide. But this is going to be of a higher level. So I think this should be enough for you, right? Okay. So now let's see this question. See, some questions are going to be easy, some are going to be difficult. And when you have full-fledged CR questions, they do require a proper comprehension, right? So this was one such question, and I think with practice you learn this. So for instance, the moment I saw B, I realized, okay, ये तो बात ही नहीं हुई है. This has not been talked about. So with practice, you will realize which are the options that you can very easily eliminate. That will ease matters for you. Okay. All right. So let's look at this one then. Let's see what you have to say. Again, eliminate anything that you feel is external. Okay. A good question. Telegram group link. Our team will shortly send it to you. Okay. It will be right there in your chat box. Yeah, you've got it. Okay, one of you has responded B. Two of you, Arjun and Gaganpreet. Others. Waiting for your response. C. All right. B, C. Okay, C. All right. Nikita also says C. Vaibhav also says C. Okay. others? Why so few of you responding? B. ठीक है. All right then. So we are divided between B and C, but I see that more of you are marking C, and you are right. C is the answer here. Okay, let's look at B also, because you've narrowed down to that. We can actually make a picture of this question, this argument, and then it will be very easy to understand. Okay. Uh, Today's customers expect high quality. Every advance in the quality of manufactured products raises customer expectations. So let's say this is quality, product quality. Now an advance has happened. Every advance, this is an advance. So it raises customers expectations. It further raises customers expectation. अभी हम यहाँ से यहाँ आए और customer की expectation और raise हो गई. So this is where customer expectation is. Okay, so every advance in the quality of manufactured products raises customers' expectations. The company that is satisfied with, now this is the current quality after the advance. The company that is satisfied with the current quality of its products will soon find that its customers are not. उनका expectation already increase हो चुका है, right? At Megacorp, meeting or exceeding customer expectations is our goal. Meeting or exceeding customer expectations. When will Megacorp be able to meet customer expectations? When it advances its quality further. Then expectation will rise, then it will again have to advance. So this process needs to go on. Yes? Because customer expectations are always a notch ahead. So, C is the answer. Megacorp's goal is possible to meet only if continuing advances in product quality are possible. Because if this is not possible, then let's say it now met the customer's expectations, but customer ka expectation to yahan move ho gaya. So if it cannot advance beyond this level, then it will not be able to meet customer expectations. So its goal is possible only if continuing advances in product quality are possible. Right? Now, let's look at B. A company that does not correctly anticipate the expectation of its customers is certain to fall in advancing the quality of its products. No. Let's say there is a company Y. It has not been able to gauge the expectation of its customers. So, it did advance the quality, but utna level pe nahi aaya. So, just because it has not been able to gauge expectations, that does not mean that it will not be able to advance at all. Okay, it will be able to advance, but it will not be able to meet the expectations. So this is incorrect, that it is certain to fail in advancing the quality of its products. Okay, C is our answer here. Good. Those who marked C. I've got one E also. So let's look at E. Megacorp's customers are currently satisfied with the quality of its products. Not necessarily. This is an ad by Megacorp. This is a claim that it is making. We don't know about the on-ground situation. Okay, so we cannot conclude this. Right? All right. So now let's see our last question. Easy question. Okay. I want everybody to get this correct. Read it. You will find out the answer even before looking at the options. Yes. Let's see what you mark. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Okay. Got the first response. So Pranav has changed his answer. Okay, no issues. Okay. Umang has answered. Gaganpreet, Sumit, Netik. All right. Okay, so mainly I've got A. There's one C also. Increasing trade deficits, is that is it being considered as a good thing in our argument? We are talking about having a balanced trade, right? Both are required simultaneously. We want a rising standard of living as well as balanced trade. Both are required simultaneously since standards. So basically it's saying since one can happen without the other, but that is not a situation that we want, right? So the proper test of a country's ability to be competitive will be whether its standard of living is rising while it has balanced trade, while there are no trade deficits. So if the trade deficits increases, that's not a good situation for us. That is not a proper test of its ability to be competitive. Okay. So very good. A is the answer. Most of you have marked A itself. So it was not tricky. E says keep its standard of living constant. No, we want it to rise. We want this to rise. We want this to fall. We want balanced trade. So E cannot be the answer at all. Okay. A is our answer. So this was a simple question. So again, as I said that in your exam also, you'll get a mixed bag. It's not like all the questions are going to be difficult. That's rarely the case. So I showed you the level in the very first question. This is also very near to the level that you get, right? We also practice some difficult questions. Now, you can practice some more from your end and you will realize once you practice, let's say 20-25 questions, you'll automatically see a point of inflection where you understand, acha, ye to trap option hai, ye to outrightly eliminate ho jayega. So you build this understanding, build this judgment. Okay. Anything that is not clear, you can ask me. Any question in today's session? And please like the session if you found value in it. I apologize for the delay. There was some tech issue, okay, so I wasn't really visible, so I couldn't start the session, right? Okay, also you'll find the links of various videos categorized according to the exam and according to the subject in the description box. So do check out those videos there. Okay, this will reduce your effort. Then this is our batch. You're already aware of it, I think. Those of you who are attending this for the second, third time. 13th August, we've launched a batch for CAT 21, and I think it's high time. September is just about to come. If you want to join a batch, this should be the time, okay? CAT 22, in case you've decided you're going to appear next year, then again, a lot of material and expert guidance available in this batch. This is our SNAP NMAT, our non-CAT batch. Okay, so in case somebody is pretty sure that I have to focus more on the non-CAT exams, then this is the batch for you. Okay. Our super subscription takes care of all these things, that you don't have to worry about whether you should go for a CAT course or non-CAT course. We prepare you for everything if you take the super subscription. Then these are our experts. I think you know all of them. You attend our sessions. I hope you like them. These are the details of the super subscription, and you also get GDPI mentoring if you enroll with a super subscription. Okay. And this weekend there's a VARC mock. I expect everybody to take it. Okay. It will help you gauge your performance. It will be a 40-minute thing most likely because we are patterning it on CAT 2020, right? So do take it, do analyze it, and do let me know if you have any queries. Right? Welcome, Nikita. Bye, all of you. See you tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow we'll talk about assumption questions, an important area. Right? Bye.